Today I'm going to talk about my philosophy about instructional design. This is a walkthrough of my own ADDIE approach. ADDIE: analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. This is the golden rule used in instructional design field. Today I'm going to mainly talk about the design phase, and I'm going to briefly talk about the analysis, development, implementation, and evaluation phase. So starting with analysis. So the first thing you need to do as an instructional designer is to figure out what is the goals of your client, what learning goals they want to achieve, what they want to perform differently after they take your curriculum. And another thing is to figure out who are your learning group. Are they college students, high school students, or they're company workers? The third is to figure out the learning context. What media can you use? Where is the learning taking place? Such things. Now I'm going to talk about the design phase of ADDIE. So first, you need to decide what form you're going to use. Like we have analysis in the analysis phase, what context is the learning happen, right? So you're going to decide whether you're going to use video tutorials or like podcast or traditional class-based instruction. And then you need to figure out what strategies you're going to use. Is it a cognitive approach, or a constructive approach, or a connective approach? So different approaches are based on the analysis in the first phase. And then you need to decide what rubrics you're going to use. Normally we use Bloom's taxonomy. From Bloom's taxonomy we can see people gather knowledge from remembering them, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and finally creating something new. So for a certain subject, we're using this taxonomy to help us define what our assessment will be. And I'm going to talk more about the learning experience, because I think this is something has been neglected by a lot of instructional designers. So instructional design, comparing with industrial design, user experience has always been put in the first consideration. But as a learner, we don't get this much attention from instructional designers. At least this is my own perspective. So the first thing I'd like to put some stress on is the engagement. So we know that there are so many online curriculum right now, but the student engagement is not very well. So how to solve this problem? So first, I think the curriculum should be intuitive. The things to use should be intuitive. Like the way people interact on the curriculum should be intuitive. Normally they will have a discussion board on the online learning experience, but the discussion board really cannot give you a real-time feedback, a real-time interaction. But students nowadays are really familiar with social apps such like Facebook or Twitter. So if the curriculum can incorporate the use of such apps, it will improve the students' engagement. And another thing is personalized learning. So for personalized learning, it means the learners feel the whole course has been tailored towards him or her, like in a personal favored way. So one approach that we can take is personalized goal settings. So basically the student will negotiate what kind of goal he or she is going to achieve in terms of this course, and he will negotiate with the instructor or his or her professor. Say once they made an agreement, the students will get more engaged in the whole learning experience, because this is something they have agreed in the first place. Another thing is aesthetic, because right now so many curriculum are not that pretty in terms of visually appealing. So incorporating a graphics designer in the team will solve the problem. Another issue about the learning experience is the learning about learning. So what I mean here is that so many students, we presume that they already know, they're already a very good critical thinker, but actually many of them are not. So we need to, as an instruction designer, to plant many questions, asking the correct questions in our instruction to help prompt them, to keep them on the learning track, to help them see where they are. And also we can incorporate the use of certain apps to help them to help those students who don't have enough self-regulation to stay on the track. For example, like a Google Calendar. So using Google Calendar, we can send all those due dates to the learner's phone, so they will not miss a due date. So they can feel more confident in they knowing where they are and how they're doing. Now let's talk about the development phase. So the development phase normally involves the instruction designers and the subject matter experts. So they need to learn how to collaborate with each other, because instructors, designers cannot just like build a whole curriculum themselves if they're not the subject expert. Another thing is debugging. So because we should do this at the same time, and we can also incorporate the help from the users, the prospective users, or we call them like offer users in the future, so they can help us debug all those issues probably we're going to have in this development phase. And implementation, first thing is formative assessment, because formative assessment is an objective measure of your learner's performance from time to time. So see where they are and how they're doing. And another thing is a subjective measurement from their opinion. So we take feedbacks from users, see what we can improve. So based on the information we gather from implementation, now we go to the evaluation phase. So for evaluation, the most important thing is to analyze whether we have achieved our learning goals, how much we have achieved them. Have we overachieved or have we underachieved these goals? And then based on the information we gathered, we need to improve and figure out what we can do and how to improve the curriculum we have built. So basically, that's the last step. And with this information, we can turn to the design phase again to fix the issues we have and finish the whole iteration. So this is a brief summary of all those points I have talked about. And if you feel interested, spread the word. You can subscribe, or feel free to ask me what you are interested about instruction design. I will be happy to answer your questions. Thanks. Bye-bye.